Hi everybody, welcome to watercolor number 4, Creative Mandalas. Today I'm going to show you how to make a mandala using a layered technique. And you will want to go back over the earlier videos, 1, 2, and 3 to learn some of these techniques if you don't know them already. And so, because we'll be using them in this demonstration. And mandalas are pretty important. I think they're really important right now because they're about our connection to the universe. And people have used mandalas to express that for millennia, dating back to the early Anasazi Indians in the southwest of the United States and all over the Americas. And they can even be found in caves in Europe. So man has been using mandalas forever to express their connection to the universe. So with that said, I will be showing you here some of the supplies that we'll be needing. We will be needing a compass to make circles or a series of bowls. And I will show you that here right now. Okay, here we are ready to get started on our mandala. So you can see I have a square piece of paper here. This one here I believe is 8 by 8 and or 10 by 10. And what you want to do is tape it down. And the first thing we're going to do is do some concentric circles. So what you're going to need to have is you're going to need to have either a compass or a series of bowls that you can go ahead and draw around. So you can see, and plates. So I would maybe use these ones here. Okay, whatever you've got, or this one. And you can draw around them with the bowls, and you've got bowls in your kitchen to use if you're not comfortable using a one of these. But if you have little kids around, you probably have one. All right, so one of the first things I like to do before I start any watercolor is I'm going to get my palette wet so that by the time I get ready to work on this, I've got lots of good juicy color here. And so I got a little ketchup bottle here. I got different bottles all over the place for getting my palettes wet. You have a kitchen thing that was for soap that I'll use. Sometimes if I'm in a rush, I'll just use a spray bottle. Okay. And we're going to need also to get supplies ready, because when we do this, as we do this, we're going to want some of our little goodies, our little tools that we made all those techniques with. So I've got a piece of bubble wrap, a piece of an onion sack. I've got a spray bottle, some wax paper, a toothbrush, rubber cement pickup, in case I decide that I want to use some of the Pebeo to do a resist on something. And then a sponge, maybe something to stamp with, and of course the cut up credit cards. They're always nice to have handy. And I have my brushes handy, my palette, my water, and my blotter. So to get started on a mandala, we want to find the center. And you can find the center in one of two ways. One is if you have a long enough ruler to go from corner to corner, and that's easiest. But I don't have a long enough ruler with me here right now. So I will take, so I've got roughly 9.5, so I want to go 4 3/4. Okay, and then I'm going to measure up here 4 3/4, and you'll see why I'm doing that in a minute. 4 3/4, and then over here I want to measure 4 3/4. And there is going to be my center right there. It's lined up. I'm going to erase that other dot. Okay, I'm going to do 4 3/4 here and over here. So I've got it measured. So that's going to be what I'm going to measure like this. Okay. All right. So first off, I'm going to take this. Now I have taped a Sharpie pin, and whenever you use a Sharpie with watercolor, you want to use a permanent marker. You want to make sure it's permanent. So, because some of them aren't, and then they'll bleed all over, but sometimes you can play with that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the center of our circle. Okay, and I'm going to keep this fairly close to here, but I want it big enough because I'm going to want to draw something inside of there, or put something inside of there. And so to do a compass, you got to kind of push down on this side and then twirl it around. And I suggest practicing on another piece of paper, not the first time on your good watercolor paper, and probably using a pencil first and then putting the pen on it. But anyway, see, I even moved it right there accidentally, but I caught it just in time. So now the next circle, I want not too big. So I'm going to try to make my circles different sizes. That one I'm going to start small. Okay? And then the next one I'm going to go quite a bit bigger. Remember Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear shapes? Same thing holds true here. I want some different size circles. I'll go around twice because the paper's bumpy and it's kind of hard to get a good thick line. Okay, now I'm going to go out quite a bit for the outer part. All right. I haven't done this for a long time, so I'm not in the best of practice with it. But you do get better when you go. Okay, and then the next thing, remember I measured? I want to draw some lines, and I'm going to stay out of that middle because the middle is going to be really important. So I'm going to line up this and this one. Looks like I got one kind of off, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go right to that part and then to that part. Okay. And from here to there, from there to there. Okay. I'm going to keep this one pretty simple, so I'm only going to do the 4 quadrants, but you're welcome to divide it up even further if you want. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to decide on the colors we want for this wash, for this. And what we want to do, and you'll see why I used a permanent marker here in just a second. I'm going to erase that little dot there a little bit. You can erase any little lines you've got. And I've got a little smudge from some paint, that doesn't matter. So I'm going to pick some colors, and I'm going to pick some colors that are more transparent. And I'm going to do a big wash on here, and I'm going to try to leave sort of a lightning bolt of white. And you'll see me do that often, and that's just a design thing. So to begin with, I want to get it nice and wet. Okay, so I'm going to take this and, oh, I didn't get clean water, but that's okay. Some watercolor. All right, here we go. Cassie, come here. Will you go lay down in a bit, please? Come on, lay down. My doggie is wanting to go outside. And I'm not going to let her because she goes barking at everybody. Okay, so get this nice and wet. And then I'm going to choose some colors. And I am going to choose 3 colors. I want, I can find it, my peacock blue. So this is peacock blue. This is the color I'm going to choose. But you can do any color you want with this. And I encourage you to use colors that are meaningful to you. Everybody sees color difference. Some people see color as spring colors, which are the types of colors I often use. And other people like fall colors. So, and other people like, which are more earth tones. So you can do what you want. But I have to warn you that watercolor is kind of divided, and the paint itself is divided into transparent paint and opaque granulating paint. And since we're doing a layered thing, just to be safe, it's probably a good idea to sort of stick with more transparent. So transparent colors will be like your cobalt blue, your alizarin crimson, permanent rose, viridian. Okay, when you get into the yellows, they're a little bit more opaque, so we have to use those a little bit carefully. So this is going to be really fun. I'm going to use peacock blue and opera two of my favorite colors. And these are real vibrant, beautiful colors. And I'm squeezing out a lot of fresh paint so that I can keep them, so I can keep it nice and yummy. And I might, well, we'll keep it to that. And I will use probably a little bit of this yellow. So first off, I'm going to get water on my brush, and then I'm going to get this nice and yummy and nice and liquidy and watery, because this is a thing. And so I see a lightning bolt coming through here. Okay, and I'm going to kind of go through there. We'll see if I can pull it together. Okay, and now it's nice and yummy and wet. Okay, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to get some this peacock blue, or this permanent rose. I'm going to rinse my brush out because I also want some pure permanent rose on there. You know, and if you end up losing that lightning bolt in there, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. I've got two. I really don't have a strong lightning bolt there. You can kind of take your, there, kind of got something going there. Doesn't matter. Now, my paper is buckling up quite a bit, so you want to take your tissue and get up some of this wet stuff that's going on around the corner, okay, as you go, because you'll get a big old oozle there, which can be kind of fun, really. And you see how dark it is? Well, don't believe it. It's not very dark. All right. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow, and I'm going to put it right here, kind of a little bit. And then I'm going to just kind of drop some in. Remember I said drop in color? Well, that's what I'm doing. Dropping in some of that yellow here and there. Getting kind of green there. So I'm going to clean out my brush. Then I'm going to take some of this red and I'm going to like drop it in. Okay, and not, got kind of a lot of water right there. So, okay. Now I'm going to take my spray bottle. I'm going to spray. I'm going to pick up these things down here so they don't go on. And I'll keep doing that, and I'll probably miss a few of them. And it's okay if I do. Like here, so see that big puddle right there? I can kind of wick it up with a corner of a tissue if I don't want it. I like that that's happening there. I think I'm going to see if I can't replicate it in some way. So here's another tissue. Just some lifting. Just, I'm going for texture and color here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And this is going to be the first layer, just the background of all this. And this is pretty intense right there, which is good. So one of the concepts of watercolor, or of any painting, is greatest light against greatest dark, or greatest saturation. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. And that way it's pulling you in, right? Pulls you right in there. The blue and the purpley blues, or the yellow and the purpley blues, they're complementary colors. Okay, so that's happening. Now, what do I want to do next? Oh, there are so many things I can do next. Okay, while it's still good and wet, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and splatter. Okay. And just watch what happens. I'm going to take some red and splatter it. And different things happen depending on how wet it is. Okay. It's awfully dark up here. I think I want some dark down here to balance it. is really buckling here, which is all right. Now, if you remember from some of those techniques, this is kind of drying up here a little bit. So I'm going to take my bubble wrap, make sure I have the bubblies down, and I'm going to see what happens. It might be too wet still for this to work. Oh, good, there's some texture, good texture there. I'll put some here. That's kind of going away. I'll have to do it again. Some there. Oops. There. All right, we can take a sponge. I don't like to do too much sponge, just personal opinion. I'm going to go down here where this is really thick. See, I lost all the bubblies. It wasn't dry enough yet. Okay, I'm going to just, to speed it up, I've got a hairdryer here. I'm going to hit it with a hairdryer a little bit. Too much. Let's see if I did it too much. Okay, now we come. Lift those up. Yes. Okay. Now down here. All right. Now I like to do whatever I do at least in 3 places, if not a little bit of a 4th place. Okay, that worked. Now, I lost all those wonderful splotches because it was still too wet, so I want to do some of this. Okay. Notice I'm staying with these same 3 colors. If you start getting too many colors, you're going to get muddy stuff. So I'm just sticking to 3 colors, a red, a yellow, and a blue, and they're transparent ones. And you can do analogous colors, which are the side-by-side colors on the color wheel. It's just been Easter. This kind of reminds me of Easter colors. Peacock blue and opera are such fun colors. Oh, yellow. Let's get some yellow. Okay, and I'll tell you, depending on the size of the type of brush you're using, the different things, the different dots you're going to get. Okay, I'm going to hit that. I don't want them to dissipate. Okay, there we go. There we have our first layer. Just that in itself is pretty cool, huh? I think I want some more pink blotches. I don't think these should dissipate too much because I think it's pretty dry now. And again, if I were sitting here, oh, we're getting some oozles there. Cool. All right, don't overdo it. If you feel like you've overdone it and you got too many splotches happening, hit it with a little water here and there, and they'll kind of dissipate a little bit or run a little more. It's kind of fun, whatever they're doing. All right. And since I got all this wonderful color here, let's see what happens. Okay. I got a little bee. I like this little bee. And again, these are little stamps that I pick up at the thrift shop. If you go to the thrift stores, you can find these little stamps for next to nothing. And I like this little bee because for me, as we're doing mandalas, a lot of a mandala is about, for me, is my connection to nature. So if I have a few little nature things happening here, that's good. And I can add more of these. I can add these at any time. There is the onion sack, which might be kind of fun to do, but I think I'm going to wait on that. Okay, I'm going to dry this now, and then we're going to talk about what we do in that middle part. Okay, here we are. We're going to talk about what we do in the middle. So the middle part of a mandala is important because that is where you want to put something that's important to you. So I am going to do a lotus flower, and I have gone on Google and did lotus flower drawing easy as my search, and I've picked a lotus flower. Now, for the middle of this, something else might be more important to you, like a animal or something, a star. If you're insecure about drawing, you can use a stencil and draw it in, sketch it in, and then just draw it. Or here's like a sun. The sun's kind of a logical thing for the middle of a mandala. Or an animal, if you have ever done any things with animal totems, sometimes people might want to put an animal in there. But for me, I'm going to do the lotus. The lotus symbolizes enlightenment or rebirth after you have gone through everything you need to do to become a better person. So it's an important symbol in Asian belief systems, and it's also just plain a beautiful flower. So I'm going to take this and just very easily, I'm going to draw a petal and then another one. And if you ever drew hearts as a kid, that's got to come out down there. Just think of this as being the bottom part of the heart. And if it goes over a little bit there, that's okay. And then down here, see if I'm straight, I want to draw these little petals that come out. I'm not following it exactly, but close enough. And then I like to put some of these little ones back here, so it kind of looks like you're looking down at it a little bit. So there's my lotus, or the drawing of my lotus. So I'm going to start by painting that. And I am going to paint it pink. Okay. So I want it kind of dark at the top, and I want it dark at the bottom. This one here. And then I'm going to get some water here, kind of make it light in the middle. Okay. A little darker on the sides. There. And then I'm going to just start going a little different color for the outer edge. I bled over here a little bit, so I'm just going to pick that up. No problem. And I'm going to hit it with a hairbrush. The reason being, I want a separation between these petals. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit of blue here. Maybe a little bit more. Watercolor, one thing to think about is it always dries lighter. Okay, I'm going to come over to this side. And since there's all these colors on the back, it's, oh, I wanted that one to come down, didn't I? Since there's all these other colors on the back, so it's kind of coming through some different colors down here, which is pretty cool. This needs a little bit more dark around it to make that forward petal pop out. And this is wet here. That's good. And like I said, when you did this, I told you to stick with 3 primary colors and try not to deviate too much so that you don't get mud. After you get where you're really familiar with colors, you can deviate quite a bit. And then this one here, I'm going to do light, so it stands out from that one. Okay, here's my lotus flower in the middle. Oh yeah, gotta do these little back ones. I want them quite light. There. Okay, there's my lotus flower. Now the next thing to do is to do these outer rings. Okay, and this is where it really starts to get fun. I'm gonna just hop up here and check this video, make sure it's still working, because it quit on me on the last one, so I had to redo the whole background if you notice that it's a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to take my flat brush because that's easiest, and I'm going to get, let's start with blue, I think, and come over here, and I'm going to just go around that circle thing like that, and like this. Okay, I'm going to do it down here. Notice I'm not scrubbing, okay? I'm just laying it down and letting it be. Now you can, while it's still wet, you can add a little texture to this. Okay, just a little. You don't have to. This was wet with the other blue. So I'm going to dry it off in case I do that again. Okay. Now, sticking to my same triad of colors, I'm going to come with the pink, which is Opera. I'm going to do this one. There. And then this one. Isn't that fun? So where's my bubble wrap? We'll see if we get any little circles in here. Yay, that worked. Yay. Okay, so there we've got the beginnings. Isn't that looking cool? This is so much fun, I'll tell you. I think this is right. This is just a great way to play with these techniques. Later on, we'll get where we do some more representational pieces. If you look at my website, you'll see that I am pretty much a realistic artist for the most part. But I always have this philosophy, and I've had it for years and years, that you don't grow as an artist unless you play. And so I decided, even when I used to do these realistic watercolor people, that I needed to keep growing. As I got where I was pretty good at them and stuff, but I needed to grow. And so I decided instead of that, I would take one day a week where I'd play. And that one day was Wednesday, the middle of the week. And I'd play and I'd try anything. I'd try abstract art. I'd throw watercolor, sand, dirt, anything. I used the back of watercolors that I'd ruined or thought I'd ruined, and go and work with those. And it was so much fun. And I would just explore and explore. And pretty soon Wednesday started going into Tuesday and into Thursday. And then pretty soon so much of the creative things that I was doing made its way into my watercolors and into pretty much the backgrounds, or it started out just the backgrounds, but then eventually it made it, some of this stuff was made it into the whole paintings. And it just gives it another, I don't know, play is important in art, right? It's important. And this is kind of a meditation piece. So when you do this at home by yourself, you probably won't be talking too much. And you might just spend some time contemplating, where's your role in the universe? You know, what kind of thing do you put in the middle of there that means something to you? Oh, too wet still. I'll have to wait a minute. You know, for me, nature is really important. I live in the mountains, and I'm out in nature all the time. I have a little horse, Picasso, that I've talked about, and I go out with him. Sometimes I take my paints and go out and just paint nature, paint what I see. And, you know, you learn a lot about life doing that. How trees grow, plants grow. It's pretty cool. Okay, so there now I'm getting, notice I'm doing the blue, the opposite of the pink there. And that's just because I wanted to. No hard, fast rules here. You almost can't do anything wrong with this. And just keep playing. So now I'm going to take it and very carefully, oh, I don't have enough. So there's a thing with watercolor. You got to get enough watercolor, enough paint, and enough water, okay? You see over here, because you want to carry the whole brush stroke out. So there I go with that one. And then, okay, and then down here. Need to make sure I get enough in here. Carry this. Oops, I made a boo-boo. Went out of the edge. So I'm just going to take my tissue and go up there and do that. See, no problem. Okay, we're going to try this bubble wrap again. Sooner or later it's going to work. Try it up here. Now, depending on what part of the country you're on, if you're in Florida, you have to wait forever for stuff to dry. If you're in Colorado, it usually dries pretty quickly. And if you're impatient like me, you just kind of hit it with a hair dryer. Not too much, and see if it's ready. Yeah, because the bubble wrap, it's interesting to do it in there, that's cool, in a wet wash, and then you can also stamp with it. See, I took that color and put it over there. So here's kind of a boring area. It's just flat. You can also just leave it there for a while and then pick it up, and that works too. All right, so look at how we are coming here. There. Isn't that looking cool? All right. So now at any point, remember, I want to remind you that you can turn this off, turn off your video, and go practice this. So as I'm looking at this, and I think I'm pretty happy with it, but I think I need some more of that little bee. Because, like I say, this is like my connection to nature. That's what's important to me here. And it's springtime. These are happy spring colors. And you usually get a couple stamps each. Put a few more little bees in there. He's going to go pollinate that lotus flower and all the other flowers. So we can have a beautiful spring when we finally get to go outside, huh? It's going to be wonderful. And I want some more out here too. I want them spread around. Maybe I want a red one, or whatever that color is, pink. Oh, it was a little wet, so it's blurry, but that's okay. One right there. All right. Isn't that fun? Okay, so we've got that. Now I think what we need is, I just feel like I need a few more splatters of some sort. Like, I kind of want some dryish splatters. So I'll let that dry for just a second. And I'm gonna check and see video's still running. I don't know what happened last time. Thing just quit on me. I'm not real good at this video stuff yet, but we're working on it. Okay, I'm gonna get some nice yellow. Splatter over the top. Yeah, I like that. And I think we can get some blue splatters because I kind of lost them. So I'm going to use a little bit of this. Kind of spread them around a little bit. You know, not too evenly. And then, oh heck, why not? We need some more pink ones. So those ones really worked out well. Oh. Okay. Woo. Now you notice with this, that light that I saved at the first, you know, in that very first wash, that I try to think of like a lightning bolt of light. You don't want it all in one corner or one spot. You want it to kind of flow through the wash. And look at how that gives it this feeling of depth. Okay. I'm going to hit this for a sec. Let the hair dry. Now I do that. Okay, now for one last thing. I want to feel like this is in a garden. So I'm going to make a rich purple. And again, I got to make sure that I have enough water. And I need a little more of this opera. By the way, this is made by Whole Bean. This opera color. But permanent rose works just about as well. Okay, so then the dragon brush that I recently learned about from Steve Griggs, one of our local watercolors here that's really amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to make some kind of plant. Don't try to control this too much, Pixie. Okay. And And then I want to vary the color. I don't want it all just purple. I would do this in black, but I think black would be too overwhelming. And this again will dry a lot darker. Okay, so let me see my space. That's less than that. These are kind of even. I'll put a little one in here. Okay, and then when you do anything, you kind of want some branches aiming towards your center of interest. Okay. There. Oh, I think I feel like I need a balance over here of some sort. And maybe a little one right here. There. How about that? There it is. I believe I call it done. Though with this type of process, it's almost never really done. You can play forever. But I think that's pretty like that. What do you think? Are you guys ready to go try it? Just as you do it, just keep thinking about how you're connected to the universe and what's your role in this great, incredible ecosystem. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and please hit the subscribe button below and go visit my work on pixiesart.com or Pixies Art with Facebook or pixieglore.com. And you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy creating.